It's time now for our mental health check. When it comes to high performers in the workplace, researchers say there is one thing that most of them have in common: high levels of emotional intelligence. And it's not just beneficial while on the job. Data show emotional intelligence can help you be an overall better communicator and improve relationships with others. Joining us now, psychologist Jen Hartstein, to help break down how people can build and use emotional intelligence. Dr. Jen, always good to have you. So first, can you just explain the different elements of emotional intelligence? Some people call it EQ, EA. Break it down for us.
Sure. So basically, the idea of emotional intelligence is the idea that we know how to not only manage our own emotions, but we can recognize and understand the emotions in other people. So there's kind of 5 elements of this. There's the self-awareness that I mentioned about ourselves. There's the ability to regulate ourselves effectively. There's the motivation to want to have connection, understand those things, empathy, and the last one is social skills. So that kind of group of 5 helps to bolster all of, we might be better in one area than another, but it helps to bolster our emotional intelligence overall.
So with that, if we go big picture for a moment, what are the overall benefits of emotional intelligence? Why is it important?
It's very important because what it does is it helps us be more interpersonally effective. Because if I can understand and recognize my own emotions, then I know what I need to do to be in control of them, or take a break, or walk away if I need to. If I can recognize your emotions, I may ultimately know how to respond to you more effectively to keep it from blowing out of control. And we know that if our mental health and our emotional health is in a good place, there is a benefit to our physical health and well-being. So there's lots of benefits to all of us if we can be in touch with it.
And it sounds like not just personal benefits. You started to touch on it, but walk us through how this ultimately, EQ, EI, helps improve our relationships, either at work or at home.
100%. It makes us more interpersonally effective the more emotionally aware we can be. And if you think about that, that makes perfect sense, right? Like if I can recognize how you're feeling, or I can see that you're getting upset about something, maybe I'm not going to push it more than I already did. So if in our relationships, if I'm tapping into my emotional intelligence, I'm going to be able to relate to you better. I'm going to understand you better. I'm going to communicate more effectively because maybe I'll notice when I need to push or when I need to step back. I'll be more compassionate.
Yeah.
And ultimately, we can have better critical thinking if we are more in tune with what our emotions are, right? We can kind of make better decisions and work with others more effectively.
And some people,
that's important at work.
No, that's critical. And sometimes at work, it's referred to as a soft skill, though I might argue is one of the more important ones. I wonder, is this something you're just born with? Is it something you can learn and develop? How do you even know if you have it?
Right. So I'm going to say both. We are all born with some level of emotional intelligence. But if you think about things we're starting to do much more in schools, social emotional learning, we're creating these programs, we can teach these skills. And I think you can teach them kind of at any age. But for most of us as adults, we don't have the patience to really take the time to learn it, which is kind of the fundamental key here. So if we think about what we need to learn these things, we need to be able to think about how we listen. We need to be able to pause before we respond. We need to take a break when we need to so we can tap into our own emotions and really connect with the other people. But that patience thing is the hard part for many of us.
Dr. Jen, we have just seconds, but any downsides to having a high emotional intelligence?
For sure. If I'm super tapped into you, Zinkley, and I'm super empathic, I might take on your problems as my own, which increases my stress, which makes things harder for me in the long run, right? Like kind of, we talk about the empaths being kind of having a hard time. So we want to be careful of that and make sure we have the skills to handle it.
Dr. Jen, thanks for helping us get some of those skills. We appreciate it. And thanks for watching NBC News Daily.